Hey, math class. Yay! We're entering our last unit. The assignment this week is 13.1. So hopefully you can kind of get near that. To pass the class, you really only have to get through the 4th unit, which is unit 10, to move on to the next class in theory. But there is some stuff that's needed for the Math 97 entrance exam that's from Unit 13. So you can pass by only getting through Units 1 through 4, but you might need this Unit 5, which is the curriculum's Unit 13. You might need this information to get into the next math class. Hopefully you aren't watching this on Monday, unless you're using the day off to try to get caught up. I am cleaning up my room back here because it's kind of a mess. So yeah, 13.1 is our only assignment this week. And you know, fireworks. This is so exciting. On to our journal, and we'll take some notes that'll help you as you move forward through this unit. Okay, so 13 is our next unit, our last unit, and we're going to talk about writing inequalities. Inequalities. Okay. I think I spelled that right. So for me, this is going to be pages 26 and 27, writing inequalities. I'm going to flip back here to 26 and 27. I'm going to put that across the top here on both sides. Qualities, writing inequalities. Okay, so our goal, oh, hi buddy. Sammy's here to say hi. Our goal is to, hi buddy, can you get off the table? Hi, okay, come on, go sit over there, good boy, okay. We're going to talk about symbols, the symbols that it uses, and kind of talk about vocabulary for both of these. For the inequalities and for the symbols. Take some COVID notes, because this is a weird time. Tell me how you are feeling. Oops, Sammy moved the curtain. It's so sunny outside. I'm trying to keep it off the table so that you can actually see what I'm writing. So take some COVID notes to yourself. I am feeling forgetful. And I'm having trouble remembering words. Like when I'm talking to people, I can't remember the word that I'm trying to say. Hopefully that won't happen on this video. Take some notes to yourself, like what do you remember about inequalities? Have you ever heard of them before? And then give yourself a confidence score as well. So 1 being I don't have it yet, and 10 being I got this. So take some notes to yourself, and because we've reached our last unit, I found these fun pens I had in my drawer. See, total addict to all these supplies. Over here on this side, I'm gonna make myself a chart. And I'm gonna kind of go like this, and I'm gonna go like that, and then I'm gonna make this one a little bit bigger, and then kind of over like that, and I'm going to go across the top here, and I'm not going to put a bottom one yet because I don't know how much we're going to add. But an inequality is it means opposite of equal. So if I have an inequality, right, this is the prefix that means opposite. So if I have an inequality instead of an equal sign, it's also a math sentence. Hi again, buddy. Hi, Sammy. A math sentence. Oh, bless you. Yeah. What does the book smell like? Can you go away? Come on, buddy. Come on. Okay. Math sentence that compares expressions. So it's just ever so slightly different than back here when we talked about equations, right? Equations and expressions. So yeah, an equation is a statement of numbers, expressions, and operations that are equal. And this, an inequality, they aren't equal. We're just comparing them and kind of saying what they aren't. So here I'm going to put a symbol, and then I'm going to give a math example, and then we're going to talk about how to say it. I'm going to draw a line right there. I should have used my ruler. Okay, so I've got, oh, these are brand new pens. I love it. I've got that, right? That's an equal sign. So if I say x is equal to 5, I say it, x is equal to 5, and it means that 5 is my only answer. Right? 5 is what it's equal to. I'm going to put a little line here. And we're going to start kind of talking about these inequality symbols. So the first one you might have seen before. It looks like that. And I might say x, that symbol, 5. How I would say this is x is less than 5. So this means that I have a lot of different answers. It's any number that's less than 5 is my answer. Let's look at another one here. And again, this is just sort of a vocabulary review or introduction. Maybe you haven't seen these before. I think the videos in WAMAP are pretty good. So we're just kind of getting some new information here. This is that same shape going the other direction. So if I have x and then that shape 5, this means that x is greater than 5. Again, I've got a lot of answers, but my answer is not 5 in either one of these situations. But here it's anything less than 5. Here it's anything greater than 5. I'm going to draw another line here. Now we're going to kind of get to some weird looking shapes. Oops, I got to take the glue off the bottom of these new pens. So this is sort of this shape with a line underneath of it. And what if I said R and that weird shape 4? What this means, this line under it means equal to. So this would be R is less than, right? Because it looks like this one. Or equal to, because it's sort of got a little bit of an equal sign on the bottom. So in this case, r is less than or equal to 4. That means that r could be 4, but it could also be any number less than 4. I'm going to have, again, a lot of different answers. Draw a line here. For my next one, it looks like this. It's the greater than symbol. Let's make that 8. So now r is greater than or equal to 8. Greater than or equal to 8. So again, my answer could be 8, but it could be anything bigger than 8. It could be 9, it could be 10, it could be 20. It could be 14, it could be 100, right? Because it's going to be, as long as it's a number bigger than 8, it could be one of my possible answers. And you'll also see some other guys, because we're talking about kind of graphing them. So you've got two different dudes. So you might see something that looks like this, so a closed dot. Or you might see, let me do a different color because I don't know if that orange is going to show up on camera. Or you might see an open dot. Let's talk about what these guys mean. So that closed dot, it means it's used for that one and that one, for greater than and less than, greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. It's used for both of these. And so here's an example. I might have a number line. And if I have x is less than or equal to 2, let's say that this is 2 right here. I'm going to put a closed dot right there. Here's 1, 0, -1, -2. And I'm going to draw an arrow to show that my answers includes 2, but is less than 2. So I could have, so any of these could be my possible answers. Again, you'll this will make more sense once you get into WAMAP and really dig around in it. Now this open circle is used for greater than and less than. So if I have x is greater than 4, and I have a number line again, so here let's say here's -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? If it's greater than 0, I'm going to put an open dot right there and then draw a line. So my answer is going to be anything greater than 4, which on this thing it's not very many things. So hopefully this will get you kind of started. I'm going to include some kind of practice, a little practice assignment for you to kind of get used to how these go. I'm going to draw a line at the bottom. And when you get to the point where you are solving inequalities, keep in mind that you solve equations the same, whether there's is that how you spell weather? Like the non-outside weather? Whether there is an equal sign or some kind of inequality. That was a funny equal sign. So if I have an expression or and I need to simplify it, I'm going to simplify it exactly the same as I would. Actually, no, let me say that again. If I have an equation and I need to solve for it, right? It does, because equations are the ones with the equal sign. You're going to solve it the same whether it has an equal sign or a greater than, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to symbol. It doesn't matter how you solve it. That stays the same. What changes is how we think about that answer. So dig into it. 13.1 is our assignment this week. Again, I've got office hours if you need to check in with me. This is our last unit. Can you believe it? So next week we'll do 13.2. The week after that, we'll do the practice finals and the final exam. And then we're done. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's crazy to think about that we're almost to the end of the quarter. So yeah, I'll put some practice in Canvas. You've got some notes here. Watch the videos in WAMAP. You guys are going to do great.